everyone, welcome back to my home. Today I am having fun with some envelopes. This first two envelopes I have coffee dyed already, and I am gluing them together to make a kind of like fold out pocket. I'm going to decorate the envelopes. There I'm cutting off the excess. I decided already what side of the page I wanted to attach to. That way I can figure out which way to position these two pieces of paper. Now this is an important part right here. I didn't do it the first time, but if you put them together and clip the notches out, then they will be even. I thought I was doing it okay the first time, and once I glued them down, I realized they were so far off, and then I just messed it up even more trying to fix the circle. So I scrapped that and started over. So don't be like me. Put them both together, and that way you can put the notches in the same space and it won't look so weird. And I'm just using my art glitter glue to glue around the edges of the envelope and the edges of this page. And these digitals are from Antique Papery. They really go well with so many different journal styles, because the journal I'm working on right now is ArtyMaze, a digital kit, a touch of spring. And so these had, the pretty colors that look like spring in them, and flowers. And also did go over all the edges with Distress Oxides. And then I'm going to glue it to the page that I want it on. So I just simply glue that flap down. You can decorate over that flap if you want. You could put ribbon, lace, washi tape, or just leave it like that. The choice is yours. So now I'm doing the decorating technique that I learned from ArtyMaze. And I'm using Distress Oxides and spraying some water on them. But you can use whatever you have. I've used watercolor, I've used watered down acrylic paint. You can scribble markers and spray them down. I just happen to have the colors that I liked. I see one is a Distress ink and one is a Distress Oxide. And that's what I'm using to just kind of smush down and tap down and kind of get a watercolory effect on these envelopes. I'm going to decoupage over them with some napkins. And the colors just add a lot to the background. I think, even if you decoupage a napkin over a plain envelope, it would still be pretty. So this is just another step, something extra. And I really like it. And I like using up all my other media. And I did dry between each color. And then I'm going to stamp. This is my favorite little script stamp. You could use whatever stamp you like. To me, this stamp just goes good with, vintage and spring. And I'm using the brown so that it won't overpower when I put the napkin on. But it does help, to add interest in the background. And depending on, the theme of my journal, I could have used different stamps, grungy background stamps. I could have used the Harlequin, circles, squares, whatever, you're going for. This is just the one that I choose to use a lot. I like it. So these napkins I picked up from Tuesday morning, and you saw me take off the 2 or 3 other layers, and the only layer here I use is just that top layer. I do save the other 2 white layers. I just fold them up and use them as napkins because that's what they are, right? And some of them I do use in other projects. And I do want to mention, when I learned this from ArtyMaze, just seeing how she did it, learning to look at something like the whole napkin, as beautiful as it is, and I wouldn't have thought to tear it up. But since you have a smaller area, like the envelope, and it looks good either way, whether you cover the whole envelope or not, or just take parts off. But it started me looking at things differently, instead of just how they are, what can I do with them? How can I take them apart and it still work, and create something new out of it? So I was looking through, the patterns to see what parts I can tear out and would still look nice, as well as, fit on the size of the envelope. And so that was fun because I struggle, and I still do, I struggled a lot with tearing up, scrapbook papers, and because they were always so pretty as they were. So we have to learn to not be afraid to tear things up, that we can still make pretty things out of them. And that's what they're made for, And after I do the fronts of the envelopes, I do dry them off. And I cut out all that part because that's boring. Now this napkin was a little bit more of a struggle because the flowers were so big. I was trying to find what I can tear apart that would fit on the back of the envelope. It probably would have worked better if I had, attached them to the front of the envelope. But I didn't think of that then. But I pretty much used up that whole napkin, that first napkin. In a minute, after I do the backs of these, I am going to decorate some paper and use it as a writing paper to stick inside the envelope. And I'm going to use the same technique with the inks and the stamping and then the decoupage. And I'm just placing a little piece of acetate that I took off of one of my stamp sets so that I don't glue that envelope shut when I'm applying these little pieces on, because some of them do hang over the edge inside the envelope. And you can really knock these out pretty quick. I don't think it took me that long. But it is fun, and it makes it so pretty, and it's just a lovely added detail to your journals. And people do use different methods of applying the napkins. The one I like the best is just using the Mod Podge. If it was a small piece, I may use a glue stick, depending, but I always seem to tear up the napkin when I use the glue stick. So just like when I'm rolling out, a pie, a crust, I start from the center and just work my way out, and that helps eliminate most of the wrinkles. And I don't mind wrinkles. I mean, you're going to get a little bit, but that'll help eliminate major wrinkles. So here's the coffee stain paper. This is heavy presentation paper, and you can use just regular copy paper. I normally would have used this, as a page, and I forgot to look for the thinner paper. And I just used my scalloped crocodile to make the edges prettier, because these, I don't know if I already said it, but these are going to be the writing papers. And I love the way that smushing and smearing comes out. And I dry it, and then I make sure I edge the inside and the outside. And some of that color comes onto the inside of the paper, so that just gives it added interest. Then I'm going to stamp it some more and glue some more napkins on it. If you find after you've glued on the napkins that you need to stamp it more, That's what I do. You know, I get a good background base, and there's always, you know, spots here and there that I'll think needs another stamp. But it's kind of neat to have some underneath the napkin as well as on top of the napkin. My mouth is getting dry. I gotta take a sip. Excuse me. So I had to reach down onto the floor where I threw this napkin. And I don't know how I even tore a straight piece there, but I should have, you know, edged it up, you know, made it more ragged. But I actually tore a straight piece of napkin. It was along the edge of a fold, so I know that doesn't count. I used to think that you had to apply Mod Podge and then lay the napkin down and then apply the Mod Podge again on top. And you don't. You know, the Mod Podge does go through. You know, you want to make sure you get a good enough amount on your brush and wipe up the excess, you know, and just be gentle while you're doing it so you don't tear the napkin up. But that saved me a step of having to, you know, do something I didn't need to do. And here I'm just checking, cutting off the pieces that hung over the edge. I'm adding more stamps in places I thought were too blank. And I may or may not go back and add some floral stamps, you know, different things on the outside. Like I said, the sky's the limit. You can use whatever you like. This is just what I had handy. And since I was filming, I wanted to, you know, get it done quick. So I had that little thingy that I put on the inside. It just reminds me of a stationery set, you know. When you go to the hotels, there's something there. And then I'm folding these up and using the envelope to make sure I don't fold them too big or too small. And adding a few extra stamps here and there. I could still go back and add some in black, you know, like the postal stamp. Because I think I have some on that piece there. And for the other two envelopes that I didn't put any paper in yet, that's what I could do. So you just go through, add it where you need it. You know, it just adds so much interest. And mostly you just have fun. You know, there's no stress. And that's about it. I'm getting up towards the end. I want to thank you all for watching and thank you for supporting my channel. Well, I don't know what that means, so thank you for supporting me by buying my journals. I don't know what supporting the channel means. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. This is Friday, so I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And I hope you get a lot of crafting done. And I will still be working on this journal in between binging on Netflix and popcorn. So you guys have a wonderful time, and I will see you on the next video. All right, bye-bye.